I know that you've tried to quit gooning dozens of times. You've probably installed blockers, made promises, set rules, and you keep failing. Gooning isn't a hobby. It's a full-time relationship with disappointment. Also, there are countless videos out there with some dude preaching that if you're jacking off, it means you're weak. But the reality is that you're not failing nofap because you're weak. You're failing because you're fighting the wrong damn battle. Everyone tells you corn is a willpower problem. Just don't watch it. Just be disciplined. That's garbage advice from people who don't understand addiction psychology. Truth is, they probably weren't deep in the trenches to begin with, but I was. The real reason you can't quit has nothing to do with willpower. And once you understand what's actually happening in your brain, quitting becomes significantly easier. Let's talk about the real problem here. Watching corn or reading some weird-ass dark romance to goon isn't about just sexual desire. Every time you're stressed, bored, lonely, or anxious, your brain knows exactly how to make those feelings disappear for a few minutes, and that's the trap. You're not addicted to gooing itself. You're addicted to the emotional escape it provides. Your brain has learned that uncomfortable feelings can be instantly fixed with a dopamine spike. It's the same for gaming too. You are not actually addicted to the game itself, but rather to the emotional escape it provides. So when you try to quit using willpower alone, you're ignoring why you started in the first place. The stress is still there. The boredom is still there. The loneliness is still there. You've just removed your coping mechanism without replacing it with anything else. And that's why you always relapse. Not because you're weak, but because you haven't addressed the underlying emotional patterns that trigger the behavior. Most people in this cycle are using corn to avoid dealing with their actual problems. Failed day? Let's goon. Uncomfortable conversation? Let's goon. Feeling behind in life? Goon till afternoon. It's not just about lust, it's about numbing discomfort. So here's how you actually quit. First, you identify your trigger patterns. What emotions or situations consistently lead to relapse? For most people, it's boredom, stress, loneliness, or feeling like a failure. Once you know your triggers, you build alternative responses. When boredom hits, instead of defaulting to porn, you have a prepared action. It could be physical activity, focused work, anything that engages your brain differently. Again, I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy. I used to be a hardcore gooner. I got into this habit when I was like 13. Until around 17, I was averaging about 3 gooning sessions per day. Let me repeat, 3 gooning sessions per fucking day. If you calculate that, it's like 1,460 times a year. So yeah, I gooned more than 4,000 times by the time I was 17. I knew there was something wrong with me, and this shit couldn't be natural. Then I came across nofap. From 17 to around 20, I decreased the number significantly, like 4 to 5 times a week. Down from 3 times a single day. Sometimes I'd go on a 10-day streak, then on day 11 I'd fail and goon like 4 times due single day. Sometimes I'd only make it 4 days before gooning again. It was especially hard for me because I programmed my brain to goon from a very early age. Also, I grew up alone since I was around 11 years old, and both of my parents were working professionals, so getting into degenerate stuff was really easy for me. I was so addicted to gooning that when I got my first job at 19, I used to go to the washroom during peak working hours just to goon. So yeah, it's definitely gonna take time to defeat lust completely. It's a constant battle, and especially if you're a hardcore gooner, you've got to deliberately try to stop yourself from falling into lust. This isn't just about willpower, it's about creating new neural pathways. Your brain needs to learn that uncomfortable emotions don't require immediate escape. They can be sat with, processed, or channeled into something productive. By the way, I'm 23 now, and by the grace of God and my own deliberate effort, I've finally overcome this shit. The last time I watched corn was probably when I was 21, and I don't need to goon anymore. Second part, you remove idle time. Most relapses happen during unstructured time when you're alone with the device. If you're serious about quitting, you need to structure your days so aggressively that you don't have dead zones where your brain defaults to old patterns. And the third thing is, you have to build a life worth protecting. This is the part nobody talks about. When your days are genuinely fulfilling, gooning becomes less appealing because you don't want to waste the momentum you're building. Let's talk about how to actually implement this. From tomorrow, start tracking your triggers. Every time you feel the urge, write down what time, what emotion, what situation. After 1 week, you'll see clear patterns. Then create if-then responses. If I feel bored after 9 p.m., then I do 20 push-ups and read. Make it specific, make it physical. Make it impossible to do while also watching corn. Then structure your evenings, as this is the highest risk time for most people. Never be alone in your room with a device and nothing to do. Either you're working, exercising, with people, or genuinely resting with intent. This process takes 30 to 60 days to rewire. You'll still have urges, but they'll be less frequent and less intense results because you're addressing the root cause instead of just fighting symptoms. Quitting gooning through willpower alone has about a 5% success rate. And yeah, I am totally making this number up based on my own experience. But quitting by understanding and addressing the psychological patterns has a significantly higher success rate. Most people never quit because they're fighting the wrong battle. So start being strategic. Also, it's not possible to cover everything in a single video, but you can start from here. If you are new to this channel, then subscribe if you want. See you in the next video.